Hi, my name is John Whitehead. I'm an executive and leadership coach, and welcome to my weekly video blog post. So I know in past videos, I've talked about my coaching process when I'm working one-on-one with clients. One of the things that I do is I ask them to take 5 to 10 minutes at the end of the day and to reflect on the day and think about a time when X, Y, Z, whatever it is that they're wanting to work on. Maybe it's they want to be able to listen more. They recognize that listening is a challenge for them, especially in their role as a leader, and the importance of needing to slow down, stop, and listen. And so I get those leaders to do that. I ask them to just reflect on the day and think about a time where they just did something or said something without stopping and listening. When did they do something, say something, just jumped in without stopping and listening? Just think about that for 2 weeks. And after 2 weeks, we get back to our session. We talk about what they may have noticed. And then I ask them, now add to that, write down what you noticed. Write down what the conversation was. Write down what was being said. Write down what you did. So now we're 4 weeks into the coaching, right? So they do that now, and it's the four weeks in. So they've first 2 weeks, they just thought about it. The second 2 weeks, they write stuff down. When we get back together, what I notice is they're starting to notice in the moment now when they're doing that. So now I ask them, when you're in that moment, did you notice something? Was something happening to you? Did you notice something physiologically happening? Was there a thought came to you? Does that thought lead to an image or word? And I let them now take another 2 weeks to think about that, to do that process, but now to see what shows up for them. Now we're 6 weeks in. So often maybe they've got something, they've come up with something that they can use. And again, they have to come up with that word, that image, that thought, or else it won't work. But now that becomes their trigger and then we talk about, okay, what do you need to do in those moments? And again, the client will work that out, and together we have a conversation around it. Now, what's interesting is in my workshops, if I'm doing my workshop in interpersonal communications, for example, and we're talking about the 4 neighborhoods that people might inhabit, the driving neighborhood, the expressive neighborhood, the amiable neighborhood, or the analytical neighborhood, I get them in the workshop to think through that process a little bit. And often I will, without naming names, I'll use a couple of examples. Well, recently I was doing a workshop for a group, and this is a workshop that I've done for this organization before. And a young woman showed up at the workshop and she said, I took this workshop with you 3 years ago, John, and I just want to show you something. And what she had done, she had a card that she'd laminated, and in that card was her image. And it was a picture of a street, and it was a cartoon image of her, an emoji image of her in a little car. And it showed her leaving her neighborhood because she recognized that to be an effective leader in the organization, she couldn't stay where she was. She couldn't stay in her own neighborhood. She needed to travel to other neighborhoods to be effective with those people that live in those neighborhoods. And she knew that her role required her to do that. And so she had this little image of her in a little car, and that's what that image said to her. It spoke to her. It said, this is what I need to do. So what might that image be for you? What might be that? Is there a word that works for you? Are you curious in learning more about that? You want to know maybe what that is for you? I've helped many leaders, supervisors, managers, senior leaders in organizations come up with something that works for them to help them become a much more effective leader. If that's something you think you're interested in, go to my information, which will show up at the end of this video, and let's talk. Thanks a lot, and we'll talk to you again next week.